Hi, I'm Doug Miller. I'm the head of Clinical Negligence at Coffin Mew LLP, and recently we won a really important case for a young client of ours called Rachel Robinson, and today I'm talking to her father Luke about the case and the impact on her life. So Luke, can you tell us what happened to Rachel back in Portsmouth Hospital's NHS Trust all those years ago?
Maggie went into labour early hours of that morning, was taken to St Mary's Hospital in Portsmouth, and I think from the first moment they went through the door, it was just bad management, bad skills, unprofessionalism, really. Maggie was in a lot of discomfort after a few hours of labour. They struggled trying to get Maggie to be comfortable, and then that's when everything sort of went wrong. Bit of a cord prolapse happened. When a midwife turned around and says, "I think it's an arm," or is it an umbilical cord? I mean, you think, you know, what's going on here? With that, they decided to, what did they do?
They called for an obstetrician because it was an emergency, didn't they?
Yeah, they did call for an obstetrician. The fetal heart rate dropped to 75 beats per minute, which is extremely dangerous. You know, they rushed Maggie from a bottom ward up to, I think it was ward floor 5, and there was no one there waiting for her. Literally, I mean, you've got an emergency case on your hands, and it just so happens that no one was waiting. There was no obstetrician or doctor there or registrar there to greet Maggie, to take this issue in hand. And it was just so happens that a midwife come across and started taking charge because no one else knew what they were doing.
And they called for the obstetrician, and it took a while for the obstetrician to show up. We eventually found out why that was. Yeah,
the guy was sleeping. He was sleeping, and he woke up, decided to take a little stroll down the corridor, come across Maggie and Rachel in distress. In my words, he fluffed around for a couple of minutes, and then he decided to go and fetch his bleeper. I mean, he's in an emergency situation, and he leaves. Who does that, really? Who leaves an emergency situation to go and get his bleeper that he left in his room where he was sleeping? So he then comes back, does another few checks, and there's nothing happening. They're not making decisions of what they should do. At this rate, you know, Maggie's in a lot of distress. Rachel's in even more distress. And no one's making decisions. It's disgraceful. It is disgraceful. It's shocking. Decisions then were made after a few minutes of how to get Rachel born. And by that time, I think it was just too late. They'd messed up. They didn't do their jobs properly.
And as a result of that, Rachel has been left disabled, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has cerebral palsy. It does affect all 4 limbs, majority in the lower limbs, legs, and she does have issues with walking and a few motorization skills through the hands and the arms. It's not just the mobility side of things for Rachel. Like us, we get the common cold, and Rachel will get the cold. We can get through it in a couple of days, maybe 24 hours to 3 days tops. Rachel has to take a week off school because her legs hurt. They're that painful. They're that painful that she can't walk. Basically, this was 2 weeks ago. This was 2 weeks ago as well. She had the common cold, and she rang me and says, "Daddy, my legs are really, really sore." So I spoke to her mum, and I says, "What's wrong?" And she's just got the cold. And she had to, I think it was a 5-day recovery for her. And that's a normal child wouldn't go through that. They'd have a course of antibiotics, a lot of love and care, and then they go back to school. For Rachel, it's a lot harder. Her immune system drops majorly, and that's all through the cerebral palsy. Yeah, it's not easy.
Now, we've been able to establish in the High Court that there were mistakes made on that night, and we've been able to secure a decision against Portsmouth hospitals where they've accepted part of the liability. What would you like to say to Portsmouth Hospitals NHS Trust about what happened to Rachel, and what would you like to say to other people about, your experience with Portsmouth Hospitals NHS Trust?
What I'd say to the hospital is that we hold them fully responsible for what they've done to my daughter. How they can turn around and say, well, partly our fault, is inadequate for us to hear, I suppose. That's an insult. It is an insult to hear them turn around and say, well, all right, we did a little bit wrong, but then we didn't do a lot wrong. That's major insult. Okay, we got 80%, which is fantastic, yes. But that's 80% blame. We hold them fully responsible. For anyone that's going through, childbirth or anything with St Mary's or any hospital, I would honestly say right now, for us, we would definitely research what they should be doing. We don't have to, because we're putting our trust in their hands, and that's what we did. And they messed up. They didn't do their jobs properly. So I would go in and search, because that's what we do now, isn't it? We search, we research, we see, right, what's the right procedures, what should they be doing? We shouldn't have to, but that's what I would do because of what they've done to my daughter.
What do you hope that the compensation that we're going to be able to secure for Rachel is going to do for her in the future?
For the last 12 years, we've struggled to get physiotherapy, speech and language therapy, occupational therapy. We struggled to get to see doctors to help or ease Rachel's mobility issues with cerebral palsy. What this will do is allow us to go into private care for Rachel, get the physios in place once, twice a week, if not more, with the occupational therapy and everything that she does require, just to make life a bit easier for her, because the NHS aftercare just hasn't been there. I mean, you don't wait 6 months at a time for your child to be seen by a therapist. You've got 6 weeks between each physiotherapist session, an occupational session, and then you're taken back off their list. No. We'll get that all in place. The money will help that. Will help pay for all of that.
Okay. It's been a long, hard 12 years so far in the battle, and we know it's not over yet. Could I ask you to just say how Coffin Mew has helped you in that process?
Coffin Mew has been with us the whole 12 years. They've supported us. They've been our shoulder to cry on. Whenever we do need something or need questions answered, they're there. It's just straight pick up the phone. Yes, Luke, have you got 2 minutes? Doug, not a problem, right? what can I do for you? You guys are here at absolute friendly. You're patient with us, and you know, without you guys here at Coffin Mew, there's no way we would have got where we are now. You know what I mean? It's been an absolute fantastic company. You know, great support, and I can't thank you guys enough. And I know Maggie's the same. She's really, you know, we are really grateful for Coffin Mew for being there for us, and Rachel mainly.
But you're very welcome. And at the end of the day, this is all about Rachel, and it's all about making sure that we get some security of compensation to help her with all those things that she's going to need in the future throughout her life. And that was the whole process that we went through. Is there anything that you'd like to say to anybody else out there that's thinking about investigating a birth injury but hasn't quite made their mind up yet as to whether they should do it or not?
Definitely go and investigate it, regardless of anything. I had that doubt, and I came to Coffin Mew, and they looked straight at the case, at the records, and they says you've definitely got one. Now, I'm not saying that for everyone, but yeah, definitely investigate it and see if you do have a case, and let Coffin Mew to deal with that case, because you're in fantastic hands.
Okay, look, thanks very much for that.
Thank you.